Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of Before I Go Wrong. And in this edition of Before I Go Wrong, I'll be doing Before I Go Wrong, UFC Fight Night, Lewis versus Spivak. So without further ado, let's get through this card. And this is not my finishing or my final predictions. This is just my initial predictions. And these are subject to change. So that's the whole theme of this series. And if you guys got any intel or anything you want to input in the comment section, that's like really the whole point of it. So I give my first look at it, kind of analyze it. Then later on, like this is the rough draft. And if y'all want to add anything or I just discover anything, looking deeper into the fights, then also that's why the pick shift or maybe I have a change of heart or something. But on that, let's get through this card. So first fight, we have Tatsuro Taira versus Jesus Aguilar or Aguiar. And if I go Tatsuro Taira here, I just feel like he's better everywhere than Jesus Aguilar. But I'm not even gonna go into the whole. Well, I might just do that. Like it don't matter. Like this is like I'm not final, but I think probably likely gonna be a decision for Tatsuro Taira. It don't seem like he really finishes other grapplers that well. I feel like when they have a glaring grappling issues, he finishes them. But then again, he's a young guy, and this might be a chance to finish, especially if the prop's looking real good. Like it's definitely on the table, but likely gonna be a decision for Tatsuro Taira. Like this controlling him, and a lot of spots have just been ahead, but not being able to put a stamp on it. Next fight we have in the middleweight division, Jun Young Park versus Dennis Tululin, and I got to go Jun Young Park here to beat Dennis Tululin. Tululin has a history of getting out grappled and losing fights like that, and Junior Park could definitely take that to him. And on the feet, he could definitely hold his own. Like Dennis Tululin doesn't have the best record, doesn't have the best track record, and his last win, he was over probably the worst guy actively in the middleweight division. No insult to him, it's just the reality that the guy he fought last is probably the lowest ranked middleweight. Like talented fighter, but the talent don't really match up to the results. The results ain't adding up, and that's the nature of the game. You have all the talent in the world, but you can't put it there, or you have some little mental block or whatever's happening to you. The results are gonna say it all. Like even among the best people are like, oh, this guy should be champion. This guy should be this. This guy should be that, but he ain't. You might feel he be that, but he ain't. He's still a solid fighter, but he's not the best. I mean, he's not the best. Good fighter among the best, one of the best of all time, but he's not the best. And the results speak for himself. Nothing against him, but yeah, I think Junior Park should be able to win this one. Maybe even in distance, to be honest. Probably like a submission. Yeah, I'll probably say like a submission for Junior Park. Potentially, he's definitely highly on the table over Dennis Tululin. I feel like he has the more technical striking, more technical grappling, overall the better fighter. I think Tulunin's probably his best shot if he could catch him something big and put him out. But other than that, I think Junior Park had that all day. Next fight we have in the women's flyweight division, Ji-Yeon Kim versus Manny Baum. And I'm going to go Manny Baum right now. I'm not that impressed with Ji-Yeon Kim. I'm definitely that impressed with Manny Baum. But Baum, hasn't suffered as many losses. And one of her losses clearly was due to grappling. And then I lost just for the better striker. Ji-Yeon Kim not really the most technical striker. She kind of just a slow, plotting zombie. So Manny Baum could potentially beat her. And just maybe just move a little bit, land on her. Maybe she tried to mix some takedowns. This is definitely an open opportunity for Manny Baum to win. Ain't gonna be no high confidence, ain't gonna be no average. It's gonna be a low confidence pick, regardless of who I pick in this fight. But right now, I gotta go Manny Baum is a right now. Again, Gia Kim is about to, not too far from losing as many fights as she won. So ain't gonna be all confident like in Ji-Yeon Kim. I think she's probably like a minus 200, minus 300 favorite right now, which is like, even though you probably more so Manny Baum and why people doing that, but Ji-Yeon Kim don't deserve that odds. So it's definitely something to look into and consider. But who knows if that's gonna be my final pick? Like I said, still gotta look at that one a little bit more or a lot bit more. Well, a good bit more. But looking like Manny Baum right now. Then to our next fight, we have in the flyweight division in that road to UFC tournament for the flyweight tournament winner or the tournament finale. We got Hyun Sung Park versus Sung Gook Choi. And I gotta go Hyun Sung Park right here to beat Sung Gook Choi. I just feel like Hyun Sung Park is just overall the better fighter and she'll win this one. And probably be like a decision. I feel like he's the more like matching pretty well, but Hyun Sung Park just got him covered in every area. I just feel like that's the case. He's just better in every area and should win that one. So right now, Hyun Sung Park, and probably that's gonna stay the same. Probably. To our next one, we have in the bantamweight finale for Road to UFC. I said Road to One. Road to UFC. We got Rinya Nakamura versus Toshiomi Kazama. And this fight highly likely might change my prediction right here, but I'm going with Rinya Nakamura is a right now. We got wrestler versus BJJ guy versus wrestler versus grappler here. But I feel like Rinya Nakamura has more threats as far as it's not just grappling. He got striking. It's not like he's striking super high level, but he got power and he got finishing ability. My issue with him is like um cardio and what happens if it turns into a grappling situation. Like you might be able to keep it from going to the ground. You might be able to control and put it on the ground when you want to put it on the ground. What happens when you get tired or you end up in a scramble and then you had to end up in BJJ exchanges? I know you have been working on, but this guy has a history. That's what he does. Your best case is you're gonna try to use your wrestling in reverse to keep the fight standing and touch him up on the feet. What happens if you don't get him away? What happens if the fight stands? It definitely opens it up. But as of right now, I gotta go Rinya Nakamura. I feel like he can threaten more on the feet and he can control whether the fight goes to the ground or not more often than not, as long as he's fresh and composed. So I gotta go Rinya Nakamura right now. And then this next one we got in the featherweight finale for Road to UFC. We got Zai versus Young Lee. In a similar case, I just feel like, Zai is younger by like a year or something, by a year, a couple months, I believe, and he has far more experience than Young Lee. But how much of that experience is truly credible? Not much. So it's like reality, their record ain't too far apart. It's just that the guy got far more fights, but again, most of the fights don't really mean much, amount to much anything. But I gotta go with Young Lee here. I feel he's a more all-around threat than Zai. Zai more grappling, but with Young Lee, he has shown the ability to stop the fights on the feet and on the ground. So I feel like he can hold his own with him in the grappling. I don't think that's the right path for him to win, but it's definitely in his wheelhouse to be able to hold his own with him in grappling. And then on the feet, I feel like he can break away and potentially put the fight away. So I got to go with John Young Lee to win this one. And now to our next one. Let me sit back a little bit. Yeah, now to our next one. We have in the lightweight division, or the lightweight finale for the Road to UFC. We got Anshul Jubilee versus Jeka Saragi. Anshul Jubilee versus Jaka Saragi. And with this one, I'm going, it's a right now Anshul Jubilee. I see on different sites, like Tyborg got him like a 5%. And then I think betting wise, I think he like, I don't think the odds are that crazy. I think it was actually one of the closer odds. It was like damn near pick. I don't know what it is at now, and I'm not gonna look it up because it don't really matter right now. This is just pre-predictions, or there's some rough draft predictions. But when I look at Jeka Saragi, I don't see a guy that's gonna go very far in the UFC or very far anywhere. Well, like lightweight division fighting like that, yeah, the guy ain't going nowhere in the UFC. Nowhere, literally nowhere. Also Jubilee potentially, but I ain't banking on him to go anywhere. But Jeka Saragi, like I know this guy ain't going nowhere in the UFC with the way he fight. Unless he can maybe go to 45, but even at 45, I can't say what he does. I don't see no polished striking. He got a little bit of power. I mean, he got some good power on him, but the technique looks pretty sloppy and blocky. Hey, maybe you can make some improvements. I mean, it's not you just come in the fights and it's gonna be how you gonna be the rest of your life. Whereas a lot of people would end up being that way, like, oh, he is who he is. We see who he is, and like, he ain't really changing much. Then some other people where they go out there, you see big leaps of improvement. Hey, it's possible, but I'm definitely banking against him actually making big leaps of improvements. When I look at like the fight, I see Jeka Saragi, a guy with some power, but blocky, patchy, chunky, clunky striking. But when he's able to connect, he's able to get you out pretty quick. And again, like, really just saying power from him, not the cleanest technique, not the best opposition. And he's getting them out there quick, so we're not seeing him having to rely on fights going long and then relying on his technique, relying on his cardio, relying on this, relying on that. We just saying blocky technique, boom, he catch you, fight over, basically. That's all you kind of saying from him. And hey, if the theme could continue, it's not like Anshul Jubilee is just such a great fighter is it right now. But when I look at Anshul Jubilee, I actually see, the workings of good technique. I see the motor mechanics. I see, we work with. I see the way he talks. I see like the IQ. I see the brain working with Jeka Saragi. I don't see it. I see boom, bam, smash, kill. I don't see it. Yeah. Defensive, not really there. He just strikes me another one guy that got a big round blockhead, got some power, and he could use his head as a shield, take some damage. But once he catch you, it's like over. That's all. But I feel like Unshul Jubilee should be able to outstrike him in his fight, a more composed fight, and beat him to a decision. Maybe even stop him. Maybe take him late or extend him out the first round, then drown him and maybe submit him, maybe tap him out, maybe knock him out. But regardless of the result, I gotta go Izzo right now. Unshul Jubilee to beat Jekka Surrogate. So I haven't been saying in this fight. I'm gonna say in this fight I got Unshul Jubilee. So again, I'm gonna say this halfway or more than halfway through this card, so people could like easier just navigate this what I'm talking about, or maybe y'all can just watch the full video. I ain't putting no timestamps here, but anyway, from the second half I'll make it easier so you can say, oh, he said Unshul Jubilee to win. So in this fight, I got Unshul Jubilee to win. Now to our next fight, we have in the welterweight division, Yusaku Kinoshita versus Adam Fogle. And how's this one right here? I think this is a classic case of a guy, Adam Fogle, who's on paper and skill-wise should be a guy that should have more success in UFC, but he's just not. And I feel like Yusaku Kinoshita, he has some of the intangibles and stuff. He has the power. He has that youth on his side. And I feel like he's going to be able to, skyrocket a little bit in his weight class. I'm not saying he's going to go all the way to the top, but I could definitely see him jumping up to the middle, maybe getting stuck in the middle, maybe thriving. But for sure, I can see him actually elevating elevating in the division in the UFC, where I feel like Adam Fogle is just a guy that's going to be here, but for not for long. I just feel like it's gonna be a fight where he's gonna look good on feet technically, he's gonna look okay, but I feel like Yusaku Kinoshita will have the faster reflexes and will have the heavier hands and will be able to take the damage better and dish the damage better. I feel like Fogle will come in trying to like they're looking clean, looking composed, set him good combination, like looking like a clean, solid fighter. But once Kinoshita starts to pull and counter him, or just touch him with some power, I feel like Fogle's gonna start to break, knees gonna start to buckle, and I just feel like it's gonna be Yusaku Kinoshita fight. It's gonna be a good fight until Fogle starts to get touched, starts to get lit up, and then you're gonna see like the fight just go completely out the window for him and down the drain. So I feel like Kinoshita probably gonna get him out here in under 2 rounds. If not the first, probably early in the second round. So in this fight, I got Yusaku Kinoshita in the distance to beat Adam Fogle. Now to our next fight, we have in the featherweight division, Duho Choi, or Duhu Choi. I'm gonna say Duhu. I'm gonna say Duho. Duho Choi versus Kyle Nelson. I'm over here debating I'm just picking how I'm gonna say this guy's name. Like, I have a name, and it's pronounced from the way it's not a potato. My name is Duho Choi. It's not Duhu Choi. Get it right. It ain't your preference to pick how you want to say my name. I have a right way to say my name. But anywho, Duho Choi versus Kyle Nelson, featherweight division. Got to go Duho Choi here. In reality, this might end up being a low confidence pick. Duho Choi definitely starting to fall into that category where he's just like a one punch, one arm bandit. Like he got some power, he can land some clean shots off that, but you know where his punch, like what arm that punch is coming from, and you pretty much know where he's going to draw. It's like, yeah, like I don't know, he's not looking super unpredictable or super powerful, super this, super that. He just like, I mean, it's cool when it lands or like when he can land it, but when you already know what he's bringing, I don't know. Cal Nelson ain't the greatest fighter, so Duhu Choi should be the favorite, should beat him, and I'm picking him to beat him. And I probably ain't gonna change that, but the biggest thing with this one, where my confidence is gonna be, it's probably gonna be low by the time of the fight. But maybe jump to the average. Cause I know when the Korean Zombie or Chan Sung Jung returned from his service duty, he actually showed leaps of improvement, and that was like that final shift to like you saw that final bit of growth and significant growth in Korean Zombie. I think he plateaued now, but I think from that service time and coming back, he had a leap, and then he like went on to be a title challenger, rise up the ranks pretty quickly, get some real good finishes, like real quick finishes too, like after that service. So maybe it will help Duhu Choi, maybe help him mentally, maybe help him physically, or whatever case. Maybe showed him, took some time off and made him appreciate the sport more and come back with new fire. So I'm gonna take that into account. Yeah, I'm gonna take that into account. And no, Duho Choi is probably gonna be in the distance. Like I feel like whoever wins is probably likely gonna be in the distance. So I'm gonna go. Yeah, moral story. I think that time will help him. He'll come back hungrier. He'll make some improvements in his game. Maybe develop a second arm and not just be a one-arm fighter. And I think he gets Kyle Nelson out of there within the distance. So as of right now, I got Doo-Ho Choi in the distance. Now to our next fight, we have in the heavyweight division, Marcin Tyborg versus Blagoy Ivanov. And this fight could definitely go a lot of different ways right here. But I think ultimately I'm going to go low confidence Marcin Tyborg to win this one. I just think he's the fighter with the better steam is right now. But this definitely be Blagoy Ivanov fight. Marcin Tyborg doesn't have the best lateral motion. He could easily be cut off. Blagoy Ivanov might be that slow plotting fighter that does a little bit of heat and wrestles and whatnot. And also Tyborg's side, as far as what has been rejuvenated career, it has been the wrestling for the most part, whether it be offensively or defensively. Like his last fight was defensively, but other fights has been offensively using his wrestling to win fights. Now after went on that, what was that, back in like 2018, 2019, probably like 2019, he went on that 3-fight knockout loss streak and was looking like he was done. But I don't think he can really use his wrestling like that in this fight against Blagoy Ivanov, who's I think several-time world Sambo champion. Even got a win over the great Fedor in Sambo. So I don't know if he'll have the greatest success trying to be a blanket or wrestle in this one. And then I don't know if his lateral motion can save him that much. It's never really saved him from anything, to be honest. I feel like Blagoy Ivanov, one thing we know about him, he got a sturdy chin, tough as nails, and he could keep coming forward. And then Marcin Tyborg can't use that wrestling to keep him off him. We got the striking or the technique to keep him off him. It could definitely be a case where stylistically Blagoy Ivanov comes in here, pressures him, stays in his face. Tyborg trying to wrestle unsuccessfully and just constantly getting stalked down, getting tagged, and then getting knocked out. It definitely end up being that. Or it just end up being a sloppy, boring decision, which most likely will happen. And then the judges just flipping the coin and say, "Oh, we'll go with this guy. We'll go with that guy." Oh, wait, we like Tyborg more, but I know for sure that's gonna be a low confidence pick because I definitely see all the avenues to see who could. Matter of fact, you look at really the clear avenues. It will have to be Blagoy Ivanov. You just look at the clear avenues. Only really leaning Tyborg is momentum, but again, he's not like the most. Yeah, got good hip dexterity, but as far as moving that head, picking those hands up, picking those arms up, slipping and ripping, slipping some shots, evading shots, been on those toes, cutting angles, he has none of those skills. So somebody that's constantly coming forward and could stuff his takedowns and punch him in the face could be a very bad style match for him. Yeah, so now to the next one we got, but did I say Tyborg? Yeah. Right now, low confidence Tyborg, that pick could highly likely change, but we'll see. Next one we got in the co-main event, Dawoon Jung versus Devin Clark, and I'm going likely high confidence Dawoon Jung, one of the better spots like on his card. I feel like he can stuff the takedowns of Devin Clark on the feet. Devin Clark, anytime you can stuff his takedowns and touch him with some power, he like wilt pretty quickly. And I feel like Dawoon Jung is the bigger, younger man, should be able to stuff the takedowns, should be the more technical striker, and should be able to just stuff his takedown, pressure him, put some power on him, and get him out of there in definitely under 2 rounds. I'm not saying this going to decision. I'm saying this going to finish, and maybe even first round. I'm gonna say second round. I feel like second round is that round typically for Devin Clark, that bye-bye round. Like get him out of the first round. Now you got that heavy, not like that, heavy muscled wrestler kind of tired now, and you don't have the skills or the mobility to avoid those shots, and so you can put him away the second round. So an actual prediction is right now, Dawoon Jung via second round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the heavyweight division for the main event, Derek Lewis versus Sergey Spivak, and I've already predicted this fight like twice. I think I initially predicted Sergey Spivak. I don't know if I made a full prediction, like a quick pick, or I just did like a before I go wrong, because this fight was supposed to happen before, but either way, I was initially in Sergey Spivak, this momentum, younger, blah, 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 but then ultimately with Derek Lewis, and I'm still sticking Derek Lewis. I feel like Sergey Spivak has never really shown that finishing ability, and I feel like with Derek Lewis, you gotta show a finishing ability, and I think also with Derek Lewis, when you look at all his losses, outside of like, maybe like one fight outside the UFC, and then Daniel Cormier, all of his losses have come by like, losing to better strikers for the most part. Like, who do you lose to? Oh, and people that could take his damage well. So, better striker and a guy who could take his damage, Mark Hunt. Junior Santos was able to take his best shots and then dish him back. So, Junior Santos, Mark Hunt, Tai Tuivasa, up until lately, his chin was pretty solid. Had that Kiwi chin. So, could take his shots, dish him back out. And now Sergey Pavlovich was able to just rush him, get him out of there. And Sergey Spivak hasn't really shown that finishing ability on the feet. If anything, he has been like a take you down and control you down as of late. And maybe outside of UFC fight in absolute mediocre competition, he was putting away on the feet. But other than that, like, I think his best success as far as where which is getting him up the rankings right now has been wrestling. And I feel like Derrick Lewis. I feel like Derrick Lewis, outside of Dan Cormier, has done well against guys that want to take him down and lay on him. Like they might be able to take him down, control him. You know, that Derrick Lewis type fashion fight, like he can control for large portions of the fight. It seems like man, this guy keep getting taken down, but he gets up whenever he wants to get up. And then in like that final couple seconds or that final round or whatever it may be, he either gets them out of there or he puts on enough or puts out enough damage, enough work to shift the narrative and either get the decision or put his opponent away. And again, I don't feel like I haven't seen that finishing ability from Sergey Spivak. So Derrick Lewis' losses haven't come from getting laid and prayed, haven't been getting taken down and submitted outside of Daniel Cormier, who's literally probably top 20 at least. Matter of fact, top 15 at the very least, all-time fighters, Olympic caliber wrestler, and he brought his BJJ skills along the way. Not as long, it's not to where his wrestling is, but to a point where he could finish some of the best guys in the world at heavyweight, in light heavyweight, and definitely down below if they try to fight him at open weight. So that's no shame there. And Spivak is no Daniel Cormier, is all I'm saying. So Spivak gonna have to hopefully show some great improvement in his striking, or hope for an injury or something. But stylistically wise, the style he presents is not a style that has done well against Derrick Lewis. This is a style actually that Derrick Lewis has been undefeated against as far as in the UFC. And I think he will continue to be undefeated against this style, and probably likely traditional, typical Derrick Lewis fashion, except a little bit quicker. Not like the 5th round or the 4th round, but probably like a 3rd round TKO after Sergey Spivak, tries to control him, try to hold him against the cage, try to tie him up and for like a round or two. But Derrick Lewis probably still having his moments in those rounds as well. But maybe Spivak, those rounds being closer. Maybe they've been Spivak rounds, but ultimately it don't matter because I think Derrick Lewis is going to put his lights out. So whether it be close, whether it be Derrick Lewis rounds, I think eventually Spivak starts to slow down. Now, I have seen that gassy from from Spivak. And we can say, oh, Lewis showed this, Lewis showed that. But look at a lot of Lewis wins. He got like 6, 7 wins in the 5th round. So you can talk about cardio, this, cardio, that. Spivak is the one who needs that cardio much more because he wants to wrestle and hold him down. If Spivak gets tired and he can't wrestle, it's over. Derrick Lewis can have literally 1 energy bar, but he got that power at any point. He can have 1 energy bar, half energy bar, no energy bar. That man can touch you with some power, your lights go out. So it don't matter as much for him. Spivak needs that cardio, and he has shown issues with that cardio. He needs that cardio, and he has shown issues with that cardio. So don't talk about no cardio. Spivak is the one who needs it, not Lewis. So I got to go Derrick Lewis right in here. I'm probably going to say like average confidence. I don't know what's at right now on my thing, probably low confidence, but hey, if it's a low confidence, it is what it is. I predicted it. I ain't going back and change it no more. But in reality, I said my cardio. In reality, my confidence right now is average. But hey, if I put low, it's low. But how I'm gonna roll with it, I'm gonna roll with average confidence. If I pick bet or do anything with that, gotta go Derrick Lewis right now. I'm gonna stay around the 3rd round. So in this fight, I got Derrick Lewis in the distance, and that's all of my rough draft predictions. My before I go wrong. You got any insight? You got anything you want to share? Drop it in the comment section below. Or you just want to say, hey, what's up? You want to shout out or whatever you want to do, or you just want to show love, show support, whatever you want to do in the comment section, man. For show hate, anything you want to do, liven up the comment section down below. But that's the video. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.